Looks like we've got everybody seated now, and we're about to close the doors, so we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes here. For those of you who don't know, my name is Patrick Tomlinson. I am going to be warming you all up for the Damsels, so just give me about 10 minutes here. So I want you everybody to stand up. We're going to do some calisthenics and some Tai Chi. No? Wrong crowd, really? Okay, jumping jacks, or just bend over and touch your toes. Just no? Okay. All right. Now, before we get rolling, just a couple of parental advisories to go out to everybody. If the Spider-Man cum jokes weren't enough for you already, you might be able to tell this is. That's why they call him the web slinger, everyone. So, I don't see anybody obviously under the age of 18 in here, or 12, or, whatever. But, so we myself, to some degree, and them to every degree, uses foul language and talks about adult situations. So, if that's not your thing, that's fine. If you're easily offended or you have a weak constitution, please go fuck yourself and get out of here. There we go. Okay. So, everybody's here to see the Damsels. They were nice enough to give me 10 minutes to open up for you guys, so we're going to go through that real quick, and then they are going to get into a brand new act that has never been done in front of an audience before, and from what I can tell, has never even been done in front of each other before. So it should be the most random thing you've ever seen in your lives. Yes. But before we get started, again, my name is Patrick Tomlinson. I am a stand-up comedian out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All right. Couple of people have a map. That's wonderful. But before I get into the jokes, I just want to send a shout-out to someone I care very deeply about. It's my wife. She recently managed to achieve a life goal and lose 208 pounds. It's a big deal. 208 pounds, and here they all are. So, I'm recently divorced, but it's okay. It's okay, because, the last couple of years of the relationship, they were getting a little rocky, I'm not going to lie. I mean, there wasn't a lot of intimacy. In fact, it was getting so bad that at one point I just started calling her my bag of withholding. See, it's just like a bag of holding in that you can stuff all the candy and flowers and compliments and house chores you want into it, but you just don't get anything back out of it again. But, it's all right. This is probably going to be a dumb question in this room, but are there any Doctor Who fans in the audience here? Two? Okay, that's fine. Well, for the two of you then, who's excited about the 12th Doctor? I can't get excited about the 12th Doctor. I looked him up, and he's not on my HMO network. Damn you, Obamacare! That's my political humor. But a serious question now. I know it has to reach back a little bit, but there's any Star Trek Next Generation fans in here? Okay. Maybe after the show somebody can help me out, but why were there never any seatbelts on any Starship Enterprise, any group? Was it because, I actually have a theory about this. I think it was because they were licensed as city buses. I think that they, instead of light cars and trucks or whatever, but it's either that or they just didn't want to look like pussies in front of the aliens of the week. But that just... And especially on the Enterprise D, there were some problems with the whole layout, because not only was everybody sitting down and had no way to prevent themselves from getting thrown out of the chair, but the one fucking guy running the shields and weapons is standing there the entire time waiting to get thrown across the wall so he can't return fire. Worf is back there for 7 fucking seasons without a chair. Did he ever ask for a chair and Picard just vetoed it? He's like, no, if I'm going to have a Klingon, he's going to loom. I'm going to kill you to leer a little bit, Mr. Worf. And one other weird thing about the Enterprise D bridge layout. Yes, that's how nerdy this set is. Okay, one other weird thing about the Enterprise D bench layout is you've got the captain's chair right in the middle, and you've got the first officer's chair right over here. Okay, fair enough, I get that. And then what do you have over here? Ship's Counselor Deanna Troi. Can you imagine any other job description where you walk in as like the CEO of Boeing, and there you've got your marriage therapist sitting in a chair next to you all fucking day? Oh, and she's an empath. Like, that's not going to make the most hostile work environment conceivable. You come in Tuesday, you called in Monday, you're still hungover, your Czech liver light came on all weekend. Why'd you call in? Oh, your grandfather died. She's like, bullshit. I think that's why they put Wes on the bridge, because his hornball staring at her boobs was probably just overwhelming her most of the time, so everybody could get away with shit. But that's my theory. I grew up in a small town in central Wisconsin. And when I say small, I mean drive your tractor to school day small, okay? It was a little rural, and being a little rural in central Wisconsin, it was a little overwhelmingly white. So badly that when I was 10, for Halloween, I dressed up as Geordie LaForge and went out in blackface and trick-or-treated the entire town, and nobody batted an eye. That is how incredibly... I was 10, I didn't know any better. But, and looking back on it later, I think it was probably because I wasn't going for the gold with it. It's not like I was dressing up as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and was going to be like, some sort of a threat to the chastity of their white daughters or something. It's like, no, I picked the most unfuckable, unthreatening black character in the entire universe to go as. And I think that made it okay for everybody, just as a way to break the ice of blackface. But show of hands, and maybe a little overly enthusiastic shout. Who here uses an iPhone? Okay. Who here uses a Samsung Galaxy of some stripe? Anybody? Okay. And who are the technologically backwards pariahs that use Windows phones? Anybody? One guy in the front. One guy. That's awesome. How? They don't sell them in stores.
I ordered it,
I own a Samsung. But I don't actually care. All I need my smartphone to do is vibrate my social media updates in my front pocket really strongly. That's why I get into so many political arguments on Facebook. Right there. It's like, 9/11 was an inside job. Abortion is murder.
Keep that one going for a while.
Star Trek Into Darkness is the best Star Trek movie ever. Fuck y'all, one of those is true. But it's made me think of ways to market something else. What I want to do is start a line of like designer jeans for women with a zipper over here and a front pocket like right there. And I'm going to market it actually to like the fundamentalist Christian community, because it's a great loophole for them, because they're not the ones actually doing it, so it's not technically masturbating. It's more like getting cyber-fingered by 100 of your friends, family, and complete strangers over the internet. I don't think Leviticus covered that ground, so you should probably be okay there. But like I said earlier, I'm divorced, so I'm out on the dating scene again. But it's tough. It's tough being out there because not only am I pretty nerdy, but I'm an atheist, and so that makes it a little tougher. Because about 4/5 of the people you meet out there are Christian or religious of some stripe. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It just creates a barrier that can be kind of hard to overcome sometimes. So I decided, all right, where do we go to meet people? I'm like, okay, the gym is a nice place to meet people. So I started a exercise studio just for atheists, and I call it Pontius Pilates. It's a thinker, folks. No? Okay. Fair enough. But, in addition to working out, I've been trying to do other things, like I started wearing contacts. I started tanning a little bit, and I started shaving. Like, not shaving, but the whole thing. Not the whole thing. I actually started cutting. I stopped at the waist now because I did the full Monty one time. Just kept going with it. And I know what you're thinking, guys, because I watch porn too with the sound on for the first time in 10 years. But not worth it, by the way. Porn sound is just like somebody just slow clapping all the way to just. Like I wasn't missing much apparently, but. Anyway, so I watch porn and it's like, oh, these guys, they shave and they look great, but the 3D to 2D translation back and forth just doesn't work somehow, and I did it only once, and I took the whole thing off, and when I got out of the shower, it looked like an aborted elephant fetus, just sort of... This poor little trunk just not little trunk. Ladies, little compared to an adult elephant's trunk. All right, it's relative. Ask Einstein. Speaking of doomed baby animals, there's a big problem. I am not making this up, I promise. There's a big problem coming out of the Pacific Northwest where apparently sea otters are raping baby seals to death. And apparently what's happening is that there's some sort of an imbalance in the sea otter population, and so there's more boys being born than girls, and so they reach sexual maturity, and they get frustrated, and they just take it out on whatever they can. And it would be like if Pixar made a movie that was critical of the Chinese one-child policy. Not a lot of geopolitics majors in here. Okay, well that's fine. But what I really can't figure out is what did baby seals do to anybody? I mean, we as humans just convinced ourselves, like within the last 10 years, to stop beating them to death for their fur, and now the sea otters come in and step in and start killing them in horrible ways. It's like the baby seals are the Jews of the animal kingdom. Yeah, take that. That's right, that was a rape anti-Semite joke all thrown into one, and that's going to be my closer. So everybody, if you enjoyed that at all, please follow me on Twitter. My handle is Stealthy Geek. If you didn't enjoy it, blow my Twitter feed up, because that's good for ratings too. But please, give it up now for the Damsels of Dorkington.
Of the Damsels of Dorkington. How many of you out there have never been to one of our shows?